Hey guys, I'm Paul, this is Maytech, and today we're going to make these laser engraved coasters. So the first thing you're obviously going to need is coasters. Now I picked mine up in my local dollar store. You can get yours a lot of different places, including both Amazon and eBay have large selections of them. You'll find they come in different sizes, a smaller coaster, which is a drink coaster, and then these larger hot plate style coasters. You're also going to find they come in different grains of cork. Typically the smaller coasters are a fine cork, while the bigger coasters are made out of a kind of like a chunkier cork. Keep this in mind when you do burn them, that the larger grain of cork actually doesn't take as much laser detail as the finer cork does. So if you're going to be burning something that an image, for example, it requires a lot of detail, you're definitely going to want cork in the finer detail as opposed to this chunkier type of cork. Now I'm going to paint some of my coasters. So on the ones I'm going to paint, I'm going to go around the edge here with a good quality painter's tape so I don't get any nasty paint overflows. Obviously, if you don't plan on painting any of your coasters, this is a step you do not need to do. You can use whatever masking tape you have around, but I do recommend you use a good quality masking tape so you get some nice clean paint lines when you remove it. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and apply the paint to the coasters that I masked. I'm using just a standard art acrylic paint because I found that it lasers quite well and it also covers the coasters quite nicely, and I'm applying it with these cheap foam brushes. In order to get nice uniform paint coverage, you're going to want to apply at least 2 coats of the paint to the coasters. So I've let this dry for about, I don't know, I think a couple hours right now, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the second coat to the coasters, then let it once again dry for a couple hours before I start lasering them. Now, next thing I'm going to do is find center on my coasters so I know where to line up my laser. I'm going to use this little plastic jig here I 3D printed from Thingiverse. If you don't have a 3D printer, you can do a quick Google search and you'll see there's many different techniques for finding center on a circle. My next step here is to set up the software for burning. I'm using T2 Laser here as a software, and I'm going to be using it with a 2.5 watt diode laser. Obviously, your settings are going to be different from mine depending on the type and power of laser you're using. One thing to note is that cork burns relatively easy, so you're going to want to have to start on a lower setting and then work up from that. Another thing to note is that once you paint the coasters, they're a little bit harder to burn than they are unpainted, so you're probably going to want to go at about twice the power on the painted coasters as opposed to the unpainted coasters. So let's go ahead here and burn Boba Fett. I'm going to go ahead and time-lapse through Boba Fett and also time-lapse through all the other coasters I did. And once we're all done, let's come back and I will show you how to finish these coasters off. After you're done lasering your coasters, the next thing you want to do is give them a very quick washing under cold water with a brush and some dish soap. This is to remove all the soot that has accumulated on the burnt areas. Once you're done washing, let them air dry. So here's my finished coasters here, all dried out and ready to go. I like to leave them like this, but I know some people like to add a spray clear coat to them. I personally don't think it's necessary, but if you want to give your coasters a little bit added protection, go ahead and give them a light spray with a clear coat of your choice. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make these laser engraved coasters. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.